So today we'll start with the chapter number 9. So in that you have to study the different types of constructor and then you have to study the destructor. So first we'll start with the constructors. What are constructors? One last question, again important question it is. A constructor is a special member function that can be called automatically when the object of that class is created. It means constructor is also a member function, but it is a special type of member function. Why it is special type of member function? Because it calls automatically. Because normally we know that if it is a member function, to call that member function, calling function should be returned. Then you have to execute the call function. But whereas in this case, this member function, no need to call this. It calls automatically. When the object of that class is created, this member function will call automatically or it activates automatically. That's why you're writing this particular sentence, that is, a constructor is a special member function that is called automatically when an object is created. For 1 mark, this is important. This is one question. And second one, what is the use or purpose of a constructor? What is the use or purpose of a constructor? So the purpose or the use of constructor is to initialize the member variables of the class. So work it is used to initialize the member variables of the class. Andre class alliruvanತಹ member variable na initialization ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಈ constructors na use ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. It means this is one marks question. What is the use or what is the purpose of constructor means? The main purpose of the constructor is to initialize the member functions of a class. So after knowing these 2 points, now how to use that? For that, you have to follow the syntax, that is class. If you are observing this, class name, next line opening brace, private colon, dash, public, colon, next line, class name, member function, opening brace, dash, closing brace, dash, closing brace, ending with semicolon. It means this is the syntax of a constructor. In this, if you observe the first word, that is class is a keyword and a class name is a user defined name. Then we know that private and public are the access specifiers, but the main important thing is if you observe in the public section, we have written a member function name as class name. The name of the member function is same as class name. That's why this we are calling it as a constructor. It means the constructor means while writing the constructor in the syntax or example, the name of the member function must be same as the class name. Then you can call that as a constructor. Details about that you are studying in the form of characters and features. Right now, this much is enough to understand the syntax. Then the class ends with a semicolon. Then, concerned to this syntax, if you follow the example, you can easily understand here. For the 2 points what you discussed above, that is explained in the form of example here. That is example class sum, next line opening brace, private colon, int a semicolon. I'll go back and explain again. What is class here? Class is a keyword. Sum. What is sum? Sum is a name of the class. Then opening brace. Private is access specifier. Then int a semicolon. A is a object, or you can call it as one more way, basic way, that is a variable. A is a variable and an object or data member you can call that is of the type of integer. For easier way, I will consider this as a variable. A is a variable of the type integer that we have declared in a private section of the class sum. Then, next, public. So, in the public section, we are writing a constructor here that is sum, open parenthesis, close parenthesis. This is name of the constructor, right? This is name of the constructor written. Then next, opening brace. In that body of the function, we have written s equal to 0 semicolon. Then closing brace. If you observe this particular function, the name of the function is sum. The name of the function is same as the class name. If you observe the class name here, sum, then member function name is sum, right? That's why this member function we call it as a constructor. Then, in the body of this particular member function, we have written an instruction that is s equal to 0 semicolon. S equal to 0 semicolon. It means the value 0 is assigned to a variable s here. It means we are initializing the variable s here. Then, next, white display member function. This is normal member function, whereas sum is a special member function. That's why it is called as a constructor, because the name of this member function is same as the class name. Then the class we are terminating with the help of, again, closing brace and semicolon. So this is an example concerned to the syntax what you followed for the constructor. Then, after knowing the 2 points, totally we have discussed here 3 points. One, what is constructor? Constructor is a special member function, which is called automatically when the object of that class is created. That is one. Then what is the purpose of constructor? The main purpose of constructor is to initialize the variables or object of a class. Then syntax, you write syntax like this, that is class name, private, colon, then dash, public, colon, then class name member function, opening brace, dash, closing brace, then dash, closing brace, semicolon. This syntax. For that reference, you have written this example also. So after knowing these 3 points, then we'll move towards an essay type question. That is the characteristics of a constructor or rules of constructor function. This is very important. The question may be formed like this. What is a constructor? Explain the characteristics of a constructor. Or directly they may ask you for 5 marks question. Explain the rules of constructor. Explain the characteristics of constructor. For that essay type question, now we'll go through that points. The rules or the characteristics of a constructor function are the first one. The name of the constructor is the same as name of the class. It means the class name and the function name must be same, then only you can call that particular function as a constructor. So if you observe here in the example, the class name is sum. The class name is sum, and if you observe the member function here in the public section, that is sum member function. It means this is first characteristic. The constructor name must be same as the class name. That is rule number 1 or characteristics number 1. Then when you observe the second point, that is there is no return type for constructor, not even void. It means the constructor will not have any return data types, either integer, float, character, double, long, whatever it is. It should not have any return type specifiers, right? If you observe in the example, Only in the public section, we are writing the name of the function. But in the normal case, like this, we'll write example, void display. Here, void is a return type specifier. Like this, the constructor will not have. Constructor will not have any return type specifiers. That's why I'm writing this point, that is, there is no return type for constructor. Then, third point, the constructor should be declared in the public section. Where you write the constructor? The constructor should be written in the public section of a class. Like in the example where you have written, that is in the public section, we have written the constructor. The constructor should be declared in a public section of a class. Then, point number 4. Again, we are writing the definition here, nothing else. That is, constructors are executed automatically when a class object is created. This is again one of the characteristics or rule. Constructors are executed automatically when a class object is created. Then, next one. The constructor makes implicit calls to the operators new and delete when memory allocation is required. Memory allocation or deallocation is required. The constructor makes implicit calls to the dynamic operators called as new and delete. These we have studied in case of pointers. Static and dynamic pointers we have studied. Static allocation and dynamic allocation. In that we have discussed the operators new and delete. So if you are using constructor, constructor makes implicit calls. It means automatically it operates the new and delete either for allocation purpose or deallocation of the memory purpose. Then the next point, a class can have more than one constructor. In one class, you can write as many constructors as possible. However, all the constructors of a class should have the same name. We are writing more than one constructor in a class, but the name of all the constructor must be same as the class name that you have studied as a first rule. If you want to say that it is a constructor, then that function name must be same as the class name. So it means you can have n number of constructor in a class. Then the last point is, it is not possible to refer to the address of the constructor. You cannot refer the address of any special member functions called as constructors. So these are all the characteristics or the rules of a constructor. Then to show that, we are writing one sample program here. So the program is to demonstrate how the constructor will be executed automatically when the object of that class is created. That we want to show it here. So now you are familiar with all the classes and programs. So straight away I'll go with the class here. Class student, right? So in that directly I'm moving with public. In the public, student, the name of the class is student, and in the public section, the member function is also student. It means it is a constructor. So in the body of the constructor, what we are writing? Cout, to executable statement we are writing cout, then insertion operator, double inverted commas, constructor called automatically, double quotation mark close, ending with semicolon. This is one instruction. And second instruction, again cout, insertion operator, double inverted commas, at the time of object creation. Again, double quotation close, then end with a end del semicolon. Then the body of that function is closed. At the end, the closing brace semicolon, it means we have closed the class here. It means in this program, the class name is student. In that, the constructor we are used, one constructor, that name is student again, that contains two instructions. That two instruction contains messages, right? So after knowing this, then we move towards the main part of the program, that is void main, opening brace, then the first line, student S1 semicolon. It means What is student here? Student is nothing but name of the class. And what is S1? S1 is the object, right? Yes, name the object is S1. When this particular instruction execute, it means the constructor is going to execute automatically. When the student S1 is executed, it means according to the definition of the constructor, we know that constructor is a member function that calls automatically when the object of that class is created. So based on that knowledge, what we'll get is, we get one output that we have shown it here. That is, in the output, the first line will be displayed on the monitor. That is, constructor called automatically at the time of object creation. This is the first line. We're getting it as a output after the execution of student S1 semicolon. When you go for the next line again, student S2 is there. Again, we are creating one more object for the same class student. Again, the constructor is executed. It means again, one more output line we are getting. That is second line in the output. Then in the third instruction, student S3 is there. That is third object we have created. It means the constructor again executed itself. When the object S3 is created, again we are getting in the output, that is third instruction, that is third output, constructor called automatically at the time of object creation. Then closing brace in the void main. It means in this program, we have shown that the constructor will execute automatically when the object of that class is created. That we have shown with the help of three objects here. That's why in the output, if you observe, we are getting three outputs. So this is all about the definition, syntax, and example. And concerned to the rules of the constructor, we have demonstrated one example program. So after knowing this, now we move on to the next small heading called as need for a constructor. Need for a constructor. Why we need constructors? So constructors are named as constructors because they are getting called when the object is created. Why they are called as constructor? Because when you construct an object for a class, that particular member function is activated automatically. That's why it is called as a constructor. That is the first name. When you are constructing, at that time the member function is going to execute. That's why there is a need of a constructor. First point. Second point, the use of a constructor can be cleverly done. The use of a constructor can be cleverly done, especially in those problems where it is necessary to initialize certain data members compulsorily. In some questions, it is compulsory that you have to initialize the objects or the variables of that particular problem. At that time, this constructor is going to help us efficiently, right? Because when you write that particular objects inside the constructor, they are going to initialize automatically. For that reason, we need the constructors. Example, when you open an account in a bank, what is the initial balance? Initial balance should be 0. That should be initialized. That can be written in constructor, balance equal to 0. That works automatically when the account is created. Right? In some situations, we can use the constructors. Then in the third, instead of having separate member functions for initializing, we can perform those operations inside the constructor itself. Supposing that we don't have constructors, then you have to write a member function to initialize the variables or object of the constructor separately. To avoid that, we can use constructors. It means altogether the need is, we need constructor to initialize the variables or objects or the data members of a class. Is the main theme behind these constructors. So one more example program is there. I think you understood that first one. So next I'll move on to the types of constructors. There are three types of constructors. There are totally three types of constructors. One is called default constructor. Second one is called parameterized constructor. And third one is called as copy constructors. There are totally three types of constructors. Number one is called as default constructor. Second one is called as parameterized constructor. And third one is called as copy constructors. So first, in the today's class, we may discuss just about default constructors. So default constructor. What is default constructor? We know what is constructor already. So based on that knowledge, it is easy for us to understand default constructors. The default constructor is also a special member function which is invoked by the C++ compiler without any arguments for initializing the objects of a class. Or you can say like this also, a constructor without any arguments are called as default constructors. A constructors without any arguments are called as default constructors. Or you can say like this also, a constructor with no arguments is called as default constructor. So related to that, the second point may be, that's why it is also called as zero argument constructors. Without any argument means in the parentheses, that is empty. A pair of parentheses have empty. That's why we are saying that without any arguments. It means that's why we are calling that as a, it is also called as zero argument constructor. Then third point, a default constructor function initializes data members with no arguments. It is also used to initialize the data members of a class with no arguments. Again, we know that the constructors are used to initialize the objects of a class. This also does the same thing. The only difference is a constructor without any arguments is called as a default constructor. This is looking like same as what we discussed in case of just constructors, right? So how to write this? How do we know this? Then also we'll discuss about that. That is the default constructor. If you observe the syntax, what you learned in case of while defining the constructor same as default constructor. That is class name, opening brace, public colon, class name, open parenthesis, close parenthesis, opening brace, dash dash, closing parenthesis, closing brace, then ending with semicolon. So what you learn in case of say as a syntax in the beginning, that is nothing but default constructor syntax. Then example, same, either you can write this or else what you learned in case of sum, that you can write it as an example for default constructor, right? Then next, so time is short now, we may end the class. That's why I'll discuss only the features today, then remaining will discuss in the next class. That is the features of the default constructors are, again, one of the important question for small questions here, either 2 marks or 3 marks questions. This is very important. That is features of default constructor, especially for 3 marks questions, right? Features of the default constructors are, what are the features it has? The number one is, for every object created, this constructor is automatically called. For every object created, what you observed in case of example, what have you taken? Object S1, object S2, object S3. I have created 3 objects. For each object, the constructor is executed separately. That you are writing here. For every object created, this constructor is automatically called. That's why in the example program, we got 3 outputs because I have created 3 objects for that particular class as S1, S2, S3. For that respective 3 outputs I got. So for every object created, this constructor is automatically called. This is point number 1. Then the second feature is, it can be explicitly written in the public section of a class where these constructors can be written. The constructors can be written in the public section of a class. Or do you know this? And third one is important here. All the objects of a class are initialized to. Very important is, all the objects of a class are initialized to same set of values by the default constructor. Supposing that there are n number of objects, each and every object must have the same set of values. It means for different objects, it is not allowed to give different values that you are written here. If different objects are to be initialized with different values, it cannot be done using default constructor. If you have more than one object, then all the objects will have the same set of values. For one object, one value, for another object, another value. That cannot be provided by using default constructor. So these are the features of default constructors. Now,